There are a lot of money mistakes that people make in our world today. We're living in a world where a lot of persons, in attempt to create wealth or trying to generate money, they make these mistakes and they wonder why they actually cannot hold money. The Bible tells us that money, like wings, flies away. So you want to avoid, holding money and not knowing how or what happened to the money. And sometimes a lot of persons can attribute it to some spiritual forces or what have you. Why all of that may be true or not, but there are five major money mistakes that you definitely want to avoid as a young man or even as an elderly person, because you also want to enjoy the rest of your life and living in health and wealth. The number one major money mistakes to avoid is that you must know that money is not wealth. All right. Money can help you generate wealth. You can get assets, income generating assets. You can build wealth with money, but money itself is not wealth. I remember where I worked before, I had a lot of colleague or senior colleague also who were earning far better than myself. But what happened at the end of the month or even before the 15 days of the month, they are cashless and somehow they can't even tell what has happened to the money. And sometimes I ask myself, you earn far better than myself. Some of you earn as much as my earnings or whatever I earn at that time is just like the tithe of what they earn. What happened? How come they are not able to keep the money? What happened to them? Because they make this money mistake thinking that, you know what, I earn it, I can always earn it. All right. So you must understand that what lives with you, it is how much you are able to use that money to create wealth for yourself. The money himself, the cash himself, where not well managed, definitely is not wealth. All right. I want you, while watching this video right now, to share with your friends, like this video, leave us a comment. All right. Put a comment in the comment section, share the video with a friend, and let people understand also that we are actually creating value here in Emmanuel Inspire TV. All right. Thank you so much for doing that right away. Now, the very second money mistakes that you want to avoid in your life, you definitely want to avoid the mistakes of believing that people giving you money will make you wealthy. I mean, begging to create wealth. You don't create wealth by begging people for money. The fact that money hides in people doesn't make that when you beg people and you begin to make collections from them, it's going to make you wealthy. No. The only thing you can do with people, because money hides in people, is that you can create value that people are willing to pay you for. All right. Yes, money hides in people, but not begging people to take money so that you can create wealth with it. That definitely is a big money mistake. But when you create value, people gravitate towards you. In the same reason why, someone can be paid thousands of dollars to do a job, and other persons will be paid, hundreds of dollars to do similar job. Why? The individual that is earning or high net worth individual has been able to create value within himself or herself that he or she can actually attract such a pay. So you want to earn more money or you want to create wealth for yourself, even as a professional, you must understand that the best way to actually attract this money to yourself is to create more value within yourself so that people will definitely have no option than to throw their money at you. That is the reason why even when you earn your salary at the end of the month, you go about paying the shop owners, you go about paying the grocery owners, you go about paying the landlords. Why? Because they've created value that you have no option than to bring your money to them. So the question to you right now is, how much value are you creating in yourself on a daily basis that will make you earn better than you have earned before or you have previously earned? All right. So the third money mistakes, all right, and that's number 3 right now. The third money mistakes to avoid is inability to negotiate your bills. a lot of persons, because they have some funds or they have some cash with them, just like the example I gave, about people earning so much money, they do not negotiate. All right. And if you look at the principle of pricing, no one actually has, fixed the price for an item. So every single items are negotiable. So why not ask for discounts instead of just going and pay the face value of the bill? You could actually ask for a discount. Those discounts, when you add them up at the end of the day, you'll find out that you are actually keeping money and not leaving money on the table. You want to avoid not actually negotiating your bills or asking for discount just because you have the money. Have you wondered sometimes when you have a lot of money with you, you go on a grocery shop, you just buy without actually planning them. All right. You just buy without even asking, for discount. But when the money depletes and looks as if you are having very few cash with you, you find yourself now buying rationally. You now buy, with caution. You now buy knowing that you have limited funds. So always live your life with the principle that, listen, money like wings fly away. If you refuse to negotiate your bills when you have plenty of money, you will eventually negotiate when it has depleted. But at that time, if you are not giving discount, you have no option than to buy at the face value or whatever value the seller or whoever is running the service is willing to take for it. It is wisdom to negotiate. There is nothing wrong with negotiating. Everything is negotiable. Tell me one thing that is not negotiable. I want to read from you on the comment section, and I can prove it to you how you could actually negotiate that bill. All right. So don't make the mistakes of not negotiating your bill the next time. The other money mistakes to avoid, especially those of us who lives in diaspora, is credit card interest. Listen, some of us, personally, I took a credit card 2012, and I can tell you the interest that I've accrued to that credit card is more than times four or even times five of the value of the exact money I took. And one thing that is so tricky about credit card is it always ends becoming bad debt, except you're willing to just break it off, pay off the money at the same time and let it go. All right. So this is another very trickish thing. The interest look very minimal, but on a monthly basis, it's eating into your finances. So if you are living abroad, of course, maybe if you have access to credit card, you want to really, really be cautious. If you even don't need it, you can actually keep it out. It's not a very good money mistakes. Yes, for the rich and those who are into businesses, they could actually cover up the interest because they use it for business and all of that. But for someone who earns salary like myself so many years back, it was a very big hole in my pocket. And I still suffer the consequences of it today because I've not been able to pay it off. I still ask myself, how will I take this whole money to bank and say I'm paying off my credit card? So I just still manage and do with, the interest, even if it's almost becoming, something that I don't want to keep. You can imagine from 2012 to now, I'm still holding on to a credit card and credit card interest that still accrued to me on a monthly basis. So that's eating deeply into my finances. So it's a very big money mistake to avoid. If you have access to credit card, leave it if you do not really need it for business. All right. It's a money mistake to avoid. You may not know it now until some days when you become like myself, but avoid it so you do not actually fall into that trap. The last one today on this first series on the 5 money mistakes to avoid is the inability to negotiate prices. A lot of persons, because they can afford it, rather, they don't like negotiating. They don't want to ask for a discount. Listen, it's a big money mistakes. And if you understand the principle and philosophy of pricing, you will understand that nothing is not negotiable, including your salaries, including what you buy in the month. Everything is negotiable. So if you have a very good negotiating power, you will always earn money from every purchase instead of losing money. People lose money because they feel, some people feel too big to negotiate. Okay, it's okay if you have a lot of money to try around, but we are looking at people who want to actually manage their finances and who do not want to live in regret, at some point in their lives. So you must avoid the inability to negotiate. Don't just buy because you have the money. And sometimes it happens to us that we'll have a lot of money in our hands. We just want to buy. But when the money depletes and there are very few money in our hands, we find out that we start negotiating, we start asking for discounts. Why? Because we now begin to look at what is remaining. But you could actually start doing your negotiation even from the beginning, even when you have enough or a lot of money in your hands. Don't fall into these money traps. Don't make these money mistakes as a young man, elderly, or even old or older person. You definitely have the choice to make the right choices when it comes to your finances and your money. Till I come your way again, I remain my humble self, Dr. Emmanuel O. Odige, saying, avoid these money mistakes